What's up, beautiful people, to another episode of Pursuit of Destiny podcast. It's me, Ricky Jones Jr., back again for yet another episode in which I am also excited about. I feel like I say that each and every time, but I honestly do mean it each and every time. I'm excited that I get to be before you all, if you're watching on YouTube or within your listening ears, if you are listening by way of the various podcast platforms that we are on. I'm excited every time we get the opportunity to talk, to share time together, because it's my desire and my goal to give you something that is worthwhile, something that is life-changing, and something that motivates you or encourages you to do and to strive for better, okay? And so, like we talked about on Monday with our Monday affirmation, which was entitled, I Live a Strategic Life, that one I love oh so much. And I think if you kind of like catch the drift of who I am and what I love to talk about, I love to talk about goal setting, I love to talk about planning, I love to talk about future plans, but I love those things because when you think in line of the future, when you think in line of goals and plans and, you know, the future as it pertains to the things to come, it allows for you to become better today. And largely because who you are then is largely in turn with who you are now. Or in other words, if I was to say it another way, who you will be and strive for with the goals and the plans in the future that you want is largely predicated upon what you do now. What are the strategic steps? What are the strategies that you are putting in place? What are the things that you are lining up? What are the books that you're reading? What are the podcasts that you're listening to? What are the YouTube videos that you're watching? Like, what are the things that you're giving your attention to that will allow for you to have the goals that you want to have and to follow through the plans that you make, or to have the future that you also want, right? It's all in line with the strategy and all in line with the person that you are becoming each and every day, knowing that the future is on the way, right? Oh man, that was pretty cool. But nonetheless, and I'm gonna just break down the affirmation and talk about how we can actually live this out. And so the first part is I make strategic and calculated decisions. Man, this is also cool because decisions are the make and break points in life, right? Everything that we do, everything that we have is largely because of a decision that is made. Either a decision that you made to have or to do or to be or to go, right? Or a decision that somebody else made that was inflicted upon you. But in other words, in order for anything to take place, in order for any transactions to go about, there has to be a decision on the parties at hand, right? So with you, talking about you and your life and the things that you want to do, the things that you aspire to do, the things that you know on the inside of you that you should be doing, it's all predicated on, or it's all necessitated, or it's all in line with a decision that you have to make. So make a decision today to start making strategic and calculated decisions. What are those, right? Strategic and calculated are largely in line with, right? I keep saying predicated, like predicated just comes to mind. I don't know who needs to hear predicated, but predicated, right? Get it out of your mind so I can get it out of my mouth. But nonetheless, predicated, right? But here we are, right? Strategic and calculated things are in line with what is coming up in the future. Like, what is it that you want, right? What is it that you're striving for? What is it that you're looking to accomplish? And with those things in mind, you know that there's a strategic way to accomplish it. You know, there's a calculated way to accomplish it, or just even to put it in like real practical use, right? So if you are going from, I live in Tampa, if I want to go to Atlanta, right? I know how to do it. I've done it so many times. However, I'm calculated in the route in which I take, because I know if I go another route or another interstate, it's going to take me a long way. Or if I were to get off at an exit too early, I know that I have to take service roads and it take me a longer way. So my route is calculated. I know that it's going to take me about 7 hours, right? I'm just going to give a big number because it could take me less, but nonetheless, it could take 7 hours. That's the calculated number that it takes along this specific route, right? And so I know that if I was to take a stop, if I was to take, rest stops, go and get something to eat here and there, boom, 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 it's going to take me off that 7-hour mark. And right. And so I can look up, make it to Atlanta 8 hours later, and I can look back to know that, oh, I did stop for gas twice. I did take a bathroom break once. Like, that is the reason why there was that extra hour between the actual time it should have taken me to get to Atlanta, which was 7 hours. So all that to say, like, it was calculated. And when I know that that it was off the calculation that I had set before me and taking the trip. I know I could look back and see, oh, that's the reason why, that's the reason why, that's the reason why. However, if you don't take those strategic measures going and taking, before you actually make the step, then you'll wind up somewhere and you look up and try to figure out how, right? I heard it said, and I love to say, but I heard it being said that in 10 years, you're going to end up somewhere. The question is, will it be where you want to be, or will you end up being where you are, right? And the difference between the two is all about being strategic and being calculated about your each and every day, your each and every week, your each and every month, and your each and every year that prepares you for the decade in between now and then, right? And so that's what it's all about, making calculated decisions. And we talked about in previous podcasts ways and methods in which you can go about having strategic days, calculated days. One of them being, which I've even started doing, I hope you are as well, but make sure like each and every day before the day ends, you prepare for the day ahead, right? And so what does that look like? What we talked about doing is lining up 7 things that we want to do the next day. And so that's even a strategic and or calculated way to live a strategic life. I know when I wake up, there are 7 things on my to-do list that I need to accomplish, and they're important, right? And you can list them in order of importance, or you could just list things just to get started and get going, so that at any part of the day when you have free time, which we all have free time, the question is, what are you doing with that time? However, we all have free time to do different things on our list or to do other things. So instead of going on Instagram or Facebook and just blindly just scrolling and not even remembering anything that I looked at once I get off, or even TikTok for that matter, I go through my list. I look at my list. What things can I do? What things can I accomplish? If I need somebody else to accomplish one of those things on the list, okay, well, let me make a phone call. I heard it being said, and I know that it's true, when you accomplish the hardest thing first, that motivates you and give you the courage and the momentum to do the other things as well. So tackle the first things first. If it's a hard call that you have to make, if it's a hard email that you have to send, if it's a hard conversation that you have to have, do that first. Because when you do that first, it'll make room for the other things to be done, because you're not pressured with, oh man, I have to do X, right? Oh man, I have to do Y. Oh man, I have to do Z. No, accomplish those things first and we'll get to it, right? But nonetheless, that's how you can live a strategic and calculated life, and therefore make those decisions to be profitable as well. And then the affirmation goes on to say, I do not drift from one thing to the next. I operate in precision. Man, how easy is it for us to drift from one thing to the next? I even just talked about it with Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, right? And maybe even Twitter if that's your thing, or whatever social media, right? Just social media in general. That is one of the largest drifting agencies that has been set up for man, right? And I say it that way because it's set up in a way for us to just wander. It's set up for us just to blindlessly thumb through life, look at what other people are doing, see how other people are living, and just fantasize in another world. And it takes us away from our reality. It takes us away from our world, our true situation, right? And so I say all that to say, let's not drift, but let's strategically plan our days. Let's strategically plan our lives. Let's be calculated in everything that we do, so that we aren't persuaded in other opportunities that aren't beneficial to our goals, aren't beneficial to our plans, aren't beneficial to our future. You're catching the drift, right? But nonetheless, we have to be strategic, and drifting will come, right? The Bible even lets us know that Satan comes, if you're subscribed to what I subscribe to, Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So know that there is something that's going to come your way to try to steal your attention, to destroy your goals and your plan, or to kill the momentum that you have already started going, right? And this is easy as, it could be a phone call. It could be a phone call that you receive, or a text message that you receive that could either be good or bad news, right? Because not all good news is good news, and not all bad news is actually bad news. It's all about perspective, right? And I say not all good news is good news, because the good thing, right, at the wrong time is actually the wrong thing, as opposed to a good thing at the good time is a good thing. Or just to make it even more practical, which I love to do because saying certain things don't always register. we know it to be so when people win the lottery, right? Let's say somebody who wasn't doing well off at the moment in which they won the lottery, they get a bucket of money, right? A big old bucket. Let's say it's like 9 digits or $100 million. Instantly, boom, they are millionaires. Quite often, as we know, we've seen the stories, we read the articles where people who win the lottery usually lose it all. And you could be wondering, how can you lose all of that money? Like, how does that happen? How could you do this? Well, money is actually a good thing, right? Despite what you may believe, what you may think, money is a good thing. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil, right? But nonetheless, money is a good thing. Giving somebody money at the wrong time. Why is it the wrong time? Because they weren't strategic and they weren't calculated with their money decision making. They weren't strategic. They weren't calculated in how they ran their operations, how they ran their books and things like that, which is why they were in the situation that they were in before, right? And so if you give a child a brand new iPad and you expect for them to treat it the same way you treat it, not going to happen. Just as the person that wins the lottery, to the layman or the person that has plans, they have financial plans, they have investments, all those different things, they're calculating what they do. You give them money, they're going to thrive. However, the person without those things, they get it and they lose it. I say all that to say, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be calculated. We have to be strategic about each and every day, each and every opportunity that we have in life, because when we don't, we could have so many great opportunities to expand, to do better, to do more. However, we'll miss it because we are distracted, right? We want to watch the latest show, or we want to watch this latest movie and things like that. I made a vow to myself this year being 2022, is that I wasn't going to watch any shows or shows where there's series, where it's multiple episodes, because last year I had multiple goals. I had different things that I wanted to do, but I realized I assessed, right? I got to the end of the year, I looked back on everything that took place, and I realized the detours that were taken, right? And I realized there were certain things that I needed to cut off, and watching shows was one of them. So I had to say 2022, I'm not going to watch shows. And honestly, it has opened me up to so many different more opportunities and different things that I'm able to do. I was able to start this podcast because I had the time, and it's not even extra time. There isn't extra time. Let me just say that, ladies and gentlemen. PSA service announcement. There isn't more time that is coming. There isn't. There's only 24. Each and every day, there's 24 hours that we have, that you have, that I have, that anybody that you are aspiring to be, looking up towards, or thinking, oh man, how can they do all those things? They have 24 hours, right? They figured out how to strategically place their day, track their day, plan out their day, so that within 24 hours, they're able to accomplish all the things that you see them doing. And I'm saying that to say, be strategic about your day. Truly assess, truly look at, and when I say truly, I mean don't oh, I did that and I'll stop doing that. No, truly make a plan, truly be strategic, right? I was in between truly and strategic, truly, but nonetheless, truly be strategic about the very fact that you want to make a difference in your life, and assess the differences that can be made to aspire to what you look to do, right? And so that is how we do those things. That is how we don't allow for us to be drifting, or for us to be sidetracked, or for us to be distracted, or for us to be let down and things like that. No, we are strategic about our day. And if you go through those 7 things, you accomplish those 7 things, boom shakalaka, right? I'm not going to say then you just go to sleep, right? But hey, maybe you could add a thing, or maybe you could do another thing for somebody else, right? It's always beneficial when you can be there for other people once you are there for yourself, right? But nonetheless, hey, we aren't going to be distracted going forward. And then from there, it says that in that I operate in precision, it leads me closer and closer to the life of my dreams, which I love that part oh so much, because we all have dreams, we all have desires, we all have wishes, but in order to have those things, you have to do things to get those things, or do things to have that life, or do things to accomplish those dreams. In order to be able to do those things, you have to become the person necessary and equipped to be able to handle those things to come, right? An example of the person that won the big, large, 9-digit lottery winning situation, they had to become a good steward over money. They had to become somebody that was wise in investments, wise in money management, wise in receiving information and advice, right? And then they had to do the necessary things to put their assets in places in which it will not dwindle away to zero, but matriculate, to grow, and to compound, right? And things like that, so they can have the lifestyle that they want to live and maintain the lifestyle that they want to live, right? And so, I mean, the list goes on. Think about yourself. Think about where you are. Think about all the different things that you aspire to do, aspire to be, dream to do, dream to have, dream to be, and think about where you are right now. Be strategic about your day. Be strategic about your week. Be strategic about your month. Be strategic and have a strategic year, right? Calculate each and everything. Know how long things take for you to do, right? Long story short, my goal is to read a chapter of a book each and every day. That's minimum, right? And I realized, and I carved out like 45 minutes to do so. Oftentimes we aren't able to accomplish different things that we want to do because we don't know how long it takes to do them. And so we'll have like multiple things that we want to do and aren't able to do but two, because we didn't realize those two things took 3 hours to accomplish, right? We can't look at what other people do and think that because they were able to do it in 20 minutes that I can do it in 20. No. They were able to do it in 20 because they've been doing it for 20 years, right? So don't look at a period of time and not realize how long of a time it took them to be able to do what they're doing in a period of time. So I'm saying all those things to say, great people, you can do it. You can accomplish it. You can have the life that you want to have, do the things that you want to do, and have the strategic life with necessary calculations, okay? And I hope I said enough in this episode to give you the power to start, to begin, and to be what you want to be, and to have what you want to have, and to do what you want to do. If not, I know there's previous episodes that we've done on this podcast that will equip you to do all that you want to do and to live a strategic life. So with that being said, great people, I love you all. I appreciate you all. Thank you for listening thus far and for tapping into this podcast. I hope that it helped you, that it blessed you. And if so, please go ahead and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Click the follow button if you're listening on other podcast platforms, and leave a review. That'll help, and that'll go a long way, and I'll be much appreciative in you doing so. So with that being said, don't just live life, but we want you to pursue destiny daily. Love you all. Peace.